For years, an elusive figure known as N.T. Bullock has been creating media for the masses. His works include parodies such as Never Say Die Until You Live Again Tomorrow, Thumb Club, as well as short pieces such as Front Yard Ass Whoop and The Heart and Other Playthings. Although not commercially successful, he has not only been a pivotal influence to the industry, but also a prolific figure for the arts. Highly reclusive, he is not known in many circles, but has allowed me an interview at an undisclosed location. N.T. Bullock. N.T., if I may call you N.T.
I prefer not, but continue.
What are your specific influences?
Influences. I don't watch a lot of movies. That requires a lot of time on the viewer's behalf, and I don't have time. Time is very precious to me. I don't waste it. I'm not an idle person. I would rather like to think of myself as being the one who influences others, especially the ones who are influencing. The core, really. The man behind the scenes, behind the curtain, the catalyst, if you will, for the very nature of influence itself. That's a lonely trek because you don't get the accolades. You're not up front, you're behind the scenes, you're more of a catalyst. And I think that's more important. I wouldn't say I'm influenced by any one particular creative entity. But as far as historically, I most closely associate myself with Jesus Christ. Not in a religious sense. Getting away from that aspect. I'm just talking about the influence. He was a good man. He was trying to help humanity. I'm simply talking about the historical figure. He was iconic. Crosses. I like crosses. There again, not in a religious sense, but Hitler. Not necessarily the dictator. Not the dictator, evil, killed, whatever. I can see myself, when I look into his eyes, I think anyone can see a little bit of ourselves. Hitler, before he was a dictator, he was an artiste. I just can't help but wonder how things would have been different had he still become the dictator that he's best known for, but at the same time continued to draw and be an artist. What would that have been like? And I think that's interesting, especially when I try to cross-reference that to myself, the parallels. It's interesting to think about. Jesus and Hitler.
You're a writer.
Yes.
An actor. And best known as a director.
Mm-hmm.
Of those three, which do you prefer?
If I had to choose one of those? That's a good question. If I had to choose one of those, I would have to say I would like to direct myself as an actor, portraying something that I myself personally had written. Yes.
What do you think defines you, personally, as an artistic entity?
I think being creative is very important. Very. I like to think that I bring something different to the table. Every generation, the great minds, the great artistic thinkers and minds of each and every generation that pushes us forward as a conscientious artistic society. I like to think that they brought something new to the table, something fresh. What I would like to do as an artist is reinvent the table, maybe a different type of table. A table with enough seats for everyone. Art is such a vague word, isn't it? It doesn't pinpoint any one particular thing, especially when you take it in the context of being an artistic entity. What does that mean? I don't know.
It's been said that you're a lover of charity. You're a community man. You like to give something back. Can you elaborate on that?
I wish I could. But there again, I'm a simple man. I'm a humble man. I don't like to boast. I will say this though. I'll open up a little bit. I believe once you get to a certain level that you need to give back to the community. Although no one gave to me, there's a satisfaction for me that hopefully they feel a little guilty. There are children involved. They one day grow up to be grown-ups. I know myself as a child, I had a very harsh upbringing. It pains me to think about the lack of charity that I did not receive from those in a position of power when I was a child.
Would you be referring to your parents?
Who? No. And yes. And what I mean by that is sometimes.
What makes you such a private individual?
I do believe it's the fact that I don't associate with many people. Yes.
No, not on a personal.
Oh, in the private eye sense.
Yes.
I'm sorry, public. I said private. You agreed. I don't like to talk about it. I'm sorry. I don't get out much. I have so much to say that I don't say anything at all. I don't like making bold, outrageous statements to the public directly. I would rather put my views, my thoughts into my work and caress an audience into a more pensive state.
You're a man of the world. You've done several films. A renowned artist, if you will. Would you have any advice for the young filmmakers and artists that look up to you? And if you do, what would it be?
There's not enough room for both of us.
Well, let's say it's not a competitive element.
Oh, you in a non-competitive way, hypothetically. That's a good question. There is always someone better than you at what you do out there. Find that person, seek them out, step on their backs. I know that sounds harsh, but true talent doesn't necessarily dictate your future. Not in this world, not in any world that I've been to. It is a dog-eat-dog world, and sometimes you have to eat dog to get ahead. I will be damned if I'm not going to be honest with those who need honesty the most, and those people happen to be everyone. It's tough to break into the business. It's hard to get out of. You have to have fire, love, dedication. You have to believe in yourself that one day you are going to be famous. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Practice your autograph. Very important. Write a lot of checks. You don't become famous overnight. And if you did become famous overnight, what a blessing. That would be awesome. For me, it took weeks of planning, thinking. I'm a philosopher. I like to philosophize. I like to think and about philosophy. I like to think about that a lot. I have figured out and constructed algorithms in my brain, many universal truths that I believe are non-fiction thoughts. As we speak, I'm realizing things. But being famous has its pros and cons, just like anything else in this world. You take the good with the bad. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't. Because metaphorically speaking, there's not enough bathwater. If you get what I'm saying.
N.T. Bullock, you're a man that likes to think about the now, the past, and sometimes using your visionaries to go into the future. Can you elaborate on what your specific plans are for the future?
I would like to start an artistic movement.
Can you elaborate a little more?
No, I can't. I really haven't thought about it that much, actually. But thinking about it right now excites me. Anything artistic, I think movements are important in and of themselves. I think maybe I could incorporate my new table. Excuse me. An interview. Yes, I love you too. No, I'm serious. Excuse me. I apologize. I don't like to draw attention to myself, and apparently a lot of other people do. I'm not sure where I was going with that.
Unfortunately, the interview with the mysterious N.T. Bullock was cut short when he lost his ability to speak. The doctors would later inform me that his esophagus collapsed due to overuse. But the last words by a great man bestowed to me were these: "Let them know my brilliance. Let them revel in my philosophy, but don't let them sit in my chair." Thank you for joining us, and this will end our broadcast. Good night.